Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Primal Chaos City leader and Huge Axe creator were very clear of the kind of person Luo Feng was, as they had watched him grow and mature. Just like how he had been absorbed into the Universe Virtual Network company at the very beginning, it had always been the same way with Luo Feng. When there was no outburst, all was peaceful. The moment he had an outburst, it would certainly result in an amazing surprise. Since he had first become Primal Chaos City leader's disciple, he had lain low and completely effaced himself, and he had kept to such obscurity that the outside world started speculating whether he was alive or dead. Through his journey of growth, his character and style of handling matters were clearly observed by both Primal Chaos City leader and Huge Axe creator. They were very clear on the fact that Luo Feng would only start on something if he was prepared for it, and that he had the confidence to bring it to completion. If he was not prepared or lacked the confidence, he would never casually commit to it. On the contrary, if he verbalized his decisions in a resolute and confident manner, then he was bound to succeed. Everything is within your heart. Huge Axe creator gave a hearty laugh. Everything? What great confidence you have. But just listening to your words makes me very happy. From an undying to the limit of a universe supreme master. Primal Chaos City leader could not hold back his question. So, do you know how you should break through a reincarnation era? Huge Axe creator, who was listening by the side, also looked at Luo Feng. Breaking through a reincarnation. Even Huge Axe felt the fear and sense of loss. Even he was not confident. Luo Feng was slightly taken aback. Breaking through a reincarnation. He was truly clueless. With a serious expression, Luo Feng said, "The inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River is extremely vast. However, I am under the influence of the willpower of the primal universe, so I am only allowed to access information about the inheritance up to the limit of a universe supreme master. Any further than this, I will need to break through a reincarnation era to break free from the influence of the willpower of the primal universe." Willpower of the origin. Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader looked at one another. Others might have been unaware, but previously, the two of them were most frequently in contact with Teacher Origin. After Teacher Origin was suppressed, whenever he needed to connect with the human race, it was mostly through the two of them. This was why they had the opportunity to hear about the willpower of the origin from Teacher Origin. Hua. There were many stone chairs on either side of the long stone table. Luo Feng, Huge Axe, and Primal Chaos City leader were seated there when suddenly, on the stone chair opposite Huge Axe's, which had been empty all this while, a white-robed figure appeared. It was Teacher Origin, but all three of them, Luo Feng, Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader, did not realize this. Willpower of the origin. To the side, white-robed Teacher Origin frowned as he listened. But how a universe supreme master continues to cultivate, and how to reach the limit of a universe supreme master, these, I do know, Luo Feng said. With this limit as the basis, if I were to achieve a breakthrough and reach a new level. If you reach a new level, then you will certainly be able to break through a reincarnation, Huge Axe creator said, finishing his sentence. Ah? Luo Feng was shocked and looked toward Huge Axe creator. He could only speculate, after all, regarding reincarnation. There was no information to be found within the inheritance at all, and it was also impossible to find any information past the limit of a universe supreme master. He had not expected Huge Axe to say this so confidently. Primal Chaos City leader also looked towards Huge Axe with a shocked expression. Huge Axe looked at Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader and said, "It's very simple. When you all achieve your breakthroughs to become universe supreme masters, you will understand why I know this. The bottom line, for a complete breakthrough to the level of a universe supreme master, to level up, you must make it past a reincarnation. If you can't reach the next level, then take a gamble and try your luck. There is still a possibility of achieving a breakthrough. As for how high your chances are, take a look at the countless universe supreme masters who have been annihilated for umpteen reincarnation eras, and you will know how low your chances are. True. Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader nodded their heads. For countless reincarnation eras, at least 10 million reincarnation eras, every one of them had at least dozens of universe supreme masters. Sailing down the long river of time, exactly how many universe supreme masters from universe ocean were annihilated was a number that was hard to tell. But the ones who succeeded were easy to track: Purple Moon Ancestor and East Emperor Ancestor. Just the two of them. As for whether these two ancestors managed to break through and surpass the level of a universe supreme master in order to successfully break their way through a reincarnation, or if they simply took a gamble within their limit of a universe supreme master to barely scrape through and succeed, no one knew. How can a universe master become a universe supreme master? Primal Chaos City leader asked persistently. This concerned him personally. Huge Axe also pressed for answers. For a breakthrough, every universe master must tread a different path. Did the inheritance of the Pulse of Duan Dong River provide any guidance? Yes. Luo Feng said with a nod. In that ancient civilization, there are countless great beings. Because there were many who managed to achieve breakthroughs, to become a universe supreme master, one has to make it past an extremely large threshold. Naturally, there was a systematic way of recognition and also various experiences to tap from, which can help you maximize the chances of successful breakthroughs. By the end of this reincarnation era, our human race may have 4 to 5 universe supreme masters. But if there is more guidance, this number may multiply many folds. Previously, Divine Eye Clan had seen the emergence of 7 universe supreme masters. The human race only had 2 up until today, whereby one of them, Teacher Origin, was being suppressed. As a result, being able to see the birth of 4 to 5 universe supreme masters would already be considered great news. Multiply many folds. Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader were both shocked. Doesn't it mean that almost every universe master will become a universe supreme master? Primal Chaos City leader asked. The human race only had a total of 19 universe masters. No. Luo Feng shook his head. That's not what I meant. From a universe master to a universe supreme master, there is an extremely frightening threshold to pass. With the guidance of the ancient civilization, although the chances of breaking through are maximized, there is still a high level of difficulty. What I was referring to was the entire cultivation system. That is, from an undying to a universe supreme master. For instance, the human race currently only has a few thousand universe knights and close to 20 universe masters. Under a more improved system, the human race could possibly have over 100,000 universe knights and a few hundred universe masters. Such a cultivation method enables those who are naturally less talented, and who may otherwise only reach the level of a universe knight to progress all the way to becoming a universe master. This explains why the average talent of these few hundred universe masters cannot even be compared with as few as about 20 universe masters of our human race. I suppose a few hundred universe masters should be able to give rise to dozens of universe supreme masters. If they are lucky, it may also be possible to reach a number close to 100 universe supreme masters. Silence. Primal Chaos City leader and Huge Axe creator had quietened down. They were in the aftermath of a shock. So powerful. How many universe supreme masters could one reincarnation era cultivate? Take the first reincarnation era and the second reincarnation era, for instance. Both eras only had around 30 universe supreme masters. In the near future, could the human race become stronger than a reincarnation era? This, Primal Chaos City leader opened his mouth to speak, but was at a loss for words. Are you confident? Huge Axe's eyes were, on the contrary, glimmering. Luo Feng nodded, of course. A universe supreme master is merely one of the many stages along the path that a great being takes. As our human race gets stronger, and the more territories we claim in the primal universe, our numbers will increase. Close to 100 universe supreme masters will also be highly possible for us. Great, Huge Axe replied right away. Then you shall provide us with some guidance and let us see just how impressive this ancient civilization could be. Sure. Luo Feng was well prepared. Naturally, he would be confident. Huge Axe nodded. I shall arrange for the few of them to make their way here. Asterisk 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 asterisk. On this piece of land suspended in the vast void space was Huge Axe's godly palace. Before it was a long stone table with stone chairs on either side. There, several figures were starting to appear. Huge Axe Creator, why are you looking for us so urgently? Peng Gong Master asked amidst smiles. At the same time, other Universe Masters were appearing one by one. They were Darkness Master, Void Gold Master, Qingdong Master, Deserted Mirror Master, Peng Gong Master, Longyang Master, and Ice Mountain Master. Including Primal Chaos City Leader, there was a total of 8 Universe Masters. The moment they arrived, the first thing they would notice was that Luo Feng was present, too. Instantly, all of them could feel their insides burning as anticipation settled in. They all knew that Luo Feng was receiving the inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River from that ancient civilization. For him to show up this time around, it seemed like the matter concerned that inheritance. Luo Feng has started to receive the inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River, Huge Axe said. His eyes swept across the Universe Masters once before he fixed his gaze on them. Primal Chaos, Darkness, Peng Gong. The 3 of you are the most hopeful ones for becoming Universe Supreme Masters. Void Gold, Long Yang, Deserted Mirror, Qingdong, and Ice Mountain. The 5 of you are quite hopeful candidates, too. You all should join us in listening. Let us listen to what Luo Feng can tell us, the Universe Masters, about achieving our breakthrough to become Universe Supreme Masters. Hua. Primal Chaos City Leader appeared to be quite at peace. He merely smiled, but the other 7 were shocked and their emotions ran high. A breakthrough from Universe Master to Universe Supreme Master. There was simply no precedent to follow, as each and every Universe Master had to walk a different path. This was already giving them headaches, because if they wanted to attempt a breakthrough, it had to be done within and during the time of their current Primal Universe era. This meant that, once this Reincarnation era ended and they had to go into the miniature universe, they would no longer have the chance to try again. How can they not panic? Qingdong Master was the first to speak up. Luo Feng, are you confident? Milky Way, can I become a Universe Supreme Master? Peng Gong Master was more straightforward and asked directly. Luo Feng addressed their concerns right away. For the few of you here, our human race is very gifted. Even without any system to guide us, we have made it up to now with each and every one of you being so extraordinary. The moment we have the ancient civilization's guidance, certainly there is hope for the few of you here to become Universe Supreme Masters of our human race. As for who can achieve the breakthrough, this I cannot guarantee. I just know that, after listening to what I have to say, you all will foster a better understanding. All of you shall stop asking now, Huge Axe ordered. Just let Luo Feng speak. The many Universe Masters, who had yearned for such a breakthrough for endless time, all sat there, desperately holding back their doubts and questions, suppressing their worries and anxieties, as they fixated their gazes on Luo Feng. They started to pay close attention to what he had to say. White-robed teacher Origin listened intently. Luo Feng's gaze swept through everyone present. From Universe Master to Universe Supreme Master. Everyone must tread a different path, which, in fact, could be classified into 2 major categories. Everyone held their breath and listened carefully. The first category, starting off by godly power. Luo Feng said with utmost confidence. The second category, starting off by laws. Huge Axe Creator, who was paying close attention, was instantly filled with doubts. He asked, starting off by laws. This process of becoming a Universe Supreme Master, from what I know, everyone has to advance from the laws, like the Universe Master from Space Beast Alliance combined the laws of the 8 beast gods. Many others mainly started off from time and space. All of them had different directions. Luo Feng smiled. Starting off from the laws, almost 90% of the Universe Supreme Masters did as such, he explained. As for starting off with godly power. What is godly power? Godly power gives rise to form, that is, the body. Godly power contains life imprints, thus constituting the core of life. Just like how we humans have souls, while some other races do not, but still have the core of life. In short, any universe master can convert into endless godly power. Everyone listened in silence. What is the foundation of becoming a universe supreme master? To break limits. To break free from suppression. Breaking free from all kinds of shackles would allow us to enter a whole new world. Luo Feng paused, then said solemnly, just like how we start off with the laws, we have to achieve our breakthrough via the laws to enable God Country to break through the bottleneck. And once God Country passes the bottleneck, it will naturally start to evolve and transform into a miniature universe. On the other hand, to start off by godly power, the perfect life gene of a universe master is 10,081 times. This is the limit. Starting off by godly power requires one to surpass this limit. To enable one's godly power to evolve into a whole new level. Once our godly power has evolved, the body and soul would follow suit. This is what it means to use force against technique. We are utilizing our absolute power to overcome and break free from the shackles. Once we achieve our own breakthrough, the capacity to bear the weight of God Country would naturally increase. That is when we can propel God Country to break through its bottleneck and start its evolution into a miniature universe. All the universe masters present there were now listening wordlessly. The various races within Universe Ocean all seemed to be blindly crossing the river together, with no concrete direction or aim to advance into. Because of the small numbers, it was impossible to establish a systematic way of study. And there was no one, like a super great being, to take leadership for strategizing or for organizing to ensure conformity and integration of members. Break free from the shackles. Luo Feng said. Then we can control our fate. From there, the laws will have to retreat, and the tables will be turned. We will dictate while the laws follow. Starting off with godly power is extremely difficult, while starting off with laws is relatively easier. I would suggest starting off with the laws, then moving on to figure out how and what we should do. Starting from the laws, use the simplest and most general way to explain. Staring from an undying, one will start by learning certain fundamental laws like gold laws, wind laws, and many more. After becoming a universe knight, one will shift to studying laws like time laws and space laws. Actually, the path of the laws was to consistently climb up from a lowest, most minute point, and the ultimate target is for the 10 fundamental laws of gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, time, and space to be completely unified. And also, they must all be combined into a unified law of chaos. The moment Luo Feng gave this explanation, everyone revealed shocked expressions on the spot. Even Huge Axe Creator was so taken aback he rose to his feet. Opposite Huge Axe Creator's host seat, another host seat appeared out of nowhere. Along with it, a white-robed figure appeared. Did you mention the law of chaos? Said the white-robed man. He stared at Luo Feng, and in his eyes, there was a kind of light that no one had seen before. Teacher Origin. Huge Axe Creator was shocked. Teacher. Primal Chaos City Leader, Darkness, and Ice Mountain were all surprised and delighted. They immediately bowed respectfully to greet him. Others like Peng Gong Master, Qingdong Master, Void Gold Master, Longyang Master, and Deserted Mirror Master were excited beyond words as they shouted, Teacher Origin. Luo Feng was also shocked to see this white-robed man before him. He was the legendary Teacher Origin. Judging by his appearance alone, Teacher Origin looked like any ordinary man. He looked like a perfect introvert with a perfect innate character. He gave people around him a sense of comfort, like the refreshing spring breeze. He was on a totally different scale compared to the other great beings. Luo Feng, did you say law of chaos? Teacher Origin asked persistently. Yes. Luo Feng replied without delay. Everything takes form, because of the law of chaos, and the ultimate goal is for everything to return to the origin in order to comprehend the ultimate law of chaos. However, if we do manage to comprehend the law of chaos, then the power we gain will be even more formidable than that of Du and Dong rivers. The law of chaos, in other words, is the ultimate law. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, time, and space are the 10 fundamental laws. We can use them to compose various combinations, like the combination of gold and space to form the golden space path, or the combination of wood and space to form the wooden space path. We can even form the 8 beast gods path, whereby the 8 beast gods path can also form various combinations among themselves. Of course, the combination of gold and time would be the golden time path, and that of fire and time would form the fire time path. As Luo Feng was speaking, Huge Axe could not help interrupting with his questions. Gold, wood, water, fire, and earth are the 5 main elements. Do they not belong to the space type? How can they form a complete combination with time? Everything is possible, Luo Feng replied with a smile. Because everything is formed amidst chaos, everything is possible. There are 3 laws that can be possibly combined, or even 4 laws. Or maybe as many as 5 laws can be combined. Luo Feng shook his head, then continued, of course. It is just like how some of the basic materials found on mineral planets can be used to form numerous universe planet ships. The 10 fundamental laws will ultimately become the law of chaos. The mysteries, experiences, techniques, and hardships involved can get unbelievably trying. Burying one's head, or trying one's luck will not equate to success. Anyone from the ancient civilization will know that the 10 fundamental laws will ultimately become the law of chaos. Even for the pulse of Duandong River, when it has chosen the absolute heir who is extremely gifted and provides limitless guidance to help him in his cultivation, there is a possibility that this heir may be able to attain mastery of the law of chaos, but such cases were very rare. Luo Feng had seen the core inheritance. How the true God stage might be cultivated thereafter, and how many levels it was divided into, no one knew. However, from some things that were occasionally said about it, one could roughly come up with some information. For instance, a memory stone from the core inheritance once said that the number of people from the pulse of Duandong River who had mastered the laws of chaos was a miserable few. What did this prove? 1. Not only 1. 2. The most powerful 3 generations of ancestors from the pulse of Duandong River stood at the pinnacle of that ancient civilization. They were the strongest beings of the pulse of Duandong River, and since there was not 1, but 3 of them, he had obviously surpassed the level of mastering the law of chaos. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng merely gave a short talk about the law of chaos, since he knew very little about it. He only knew about the process of progressing from an undying to reach the ultimate limit of a universe supreme master, true God. Thereafter, Luo Feng continued to analyze the path of the laws on an even deeper level. Everyone present, including Huge Axe, listened exceptionally carefully. The white-robed teacher Origin only looked on, observing everything happening without saying much. What attracted his attention was merely the information on the law of chaos. Nothing else mattered to him. Since he had been suppressed for such an endless time, if he were to head out, he needed full confidence in the fact that he could transcend a reincarnation. And if he dared to say he had full confidence, then naturally, he must have broken through the true God stage and reached another level that was beyond that of a universe supreme master. This was why what Luo Feng was talking about was something new and slightly interesting to him. What was truly helpful to him was the part mentioned earlier, that the ultimate target was to master the law of chaos. Earlier, Teacher Origin was still at a loss as to where he should start. Now, he had a direction. He knew he should follow this path and advance into the law of chaos. Teacher Origin was watching everything happening before him. The white-robed Luo Feng was preaching. The other universe masters were listening intently. The scene tugged at Teacher Origin's heartstrings as he reminisced, a long, long time ago, I also used to preach, just like what I am seeing now. I am the one who brought the human race up to ranks of a pinnacle race, and made possible the first major turning point for our destiny. And this Luo Feng. He brings with him the wisdom of the entire ancient civilization, and he will be the one to bring about the second major turning point for my human race. And this time around, the change will be much more impactful and far-reaching. He understood that with Luo Feng teaching all he had learned, the human race would gradually undergo transformation. The number of universe knights would consistently increase, and there would be more and more universe masters emerging. Even the number of universe supreme masters would gradually increase. After this reincarnation era came to an end, the human race could become the greatest power in the entire universe ocean. Even stronger than the two holy lands. Humans. Destiny. Turning point. Teacher Origin listened silently. Although he was not sure whether he could possibly survive the suppression and gain his freedom, he still could see that in the future, the human race was going to be strong beyond words. Luo Feng's preaching. Its influence would be pervasive. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Luo Feng started out with using layman's terms to give a brief overview, then proceeded talking about some major guiding theories at great length. Thereafter, he started to give a thorough elaboration of the various difficulties involved within each theory and how they should try to achieve breakthroughs and to become a universe supreme master from a universe master. The topic of guiding theories alone took Luo Feng more than 3 months to complete sharing. Starting from the path of the laws, it took up almost every minute of his time to complete whatever he needed to say. If he were to start from his godly power, it would only take him half a day. Because it was so difficult, few in the ancient civilization would want to begin their cultivation with godly power. Therefore, information related to this area was naturally a small amount. Probably only half a day's time was required. These are all guiding theories, guiding thoughts. Luo Feng laughed. That is why it does not take me long to finish talking about them. When I return from the universe boat, I will bring back more detailed information about secret techniques of the inheritance. For example, information on combat methods. It is just that, all these techniques are boundless. Verbal sharing alone isn't enough. Perhaps I could use my memory to show you all, but that would take far too long. Luo Feng had depended on the memory stones to infuse a large amount of memories into his mind, and that process alone took ages. Such a vast and powerful secret technique. Even thousands of eras spent preaching about it would never be considered enough time. Similar to the law of combined attacks of the Divine Eye clan. Some unique secret techniques. The combat secret technique of a universe supreme master. Everyone was filled with eagerness to know more. Luo Feng gave a hearty laugh and said, "A universe supreme master. From an undying to the ultimate limit of a universe supreme master, such a secret technique, and various combat secret techniques. Even if there are thousands and millions of them, they mean nothing much, because there are simply too many. There were countless manuals. Indeed, a deluge of them. Previously, in the basic inheritance he accepted during the selection of candidates, Luo Feng had seen the 360 blade techniques. Now that he had become the master of a space of inheritance, among those 100 million inheritance stones, there was some that could contain thousands of different techniques within them. Those the pulse of Duandong River had collected were simply too numerous to keep track of. Of course, various manuals were only for reference purposes, to teach us all about the techniques universe supreme masters had, said Luo Feng. The more secret techniques you expose yourself to, perhaps you may develop an interest for something. The guiding theories and secret techniques are provided for reference. Anything more than these, you can only depend on yourselves. After all, this is a huge threshold. The difficulty levels of becoming a universe knight and a universe master are nothing compared to this. This is much tougher. External supplementary aid aside, this is entirely self-dependent. Everyone fell into deep thought, even Primal Chaos City leader. It had been an impactful 3 months for them, and they all knew they should go about trying their best. But whether they could eventually succeed, or not depended on themselves. After all, knowing and being able to achieve something, were two matters exclusive of one another. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In Flame Ice region of the universe boat, within the boat of Mausoleum, amidst the cultivation space of the space of inheritance. Luo Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, my lesson is done. He shook his head helplessly. I had not expected Huge Axe Creator to be such a difficult character to deal with. Sharing my teachings with the other teachers about how they can become universe supreme masters, took me slightly more than 3 months at most. But sharing what I knew with Huge Axe about how to cultivate to the ultimate limit of a universe supreme master actually took 12 years. Sharing his knowledge with Primal Chaos City Leader and Darkness Master, Luo Feng was burning with passion and filled with hope for the future of the human race. On the other hand, while sharing with Huge Axe, he had started out with excitement, yet, toward the end, simply found it toilsome. I shall continue to study, then. Luo Feng continued to bury his head in comprehending right away. What he had accepted was the foundation of an entire ancient civilization. How extensive was that? Although everything was in his memory, studying it all certainly required a long time. Thus, Luo Feng was forced to make choices regarding what he should or should not comprehend. He would mainly focus on 2 areas, namely, close-range combat blade techniques and spiritual weapons. Asterisk 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 asterisk. It had been 9,106 years since Luo Feng had become an heir. The studies have come to an end. Luo Feng opened his eyes. I may have acquired an immeasurable amount of knowledge, but it does not mean that the more I learn, the better my power becomes. I still must move on to cultivating the knowledge I have acquired. Knowledge alone was useless. Knowing how to use the knowledge was crucial. The 3 core sets of lost knowledge of the pulse of Du and Dong River were Du and Mie, which literally meant annihilation, Dong Hua, an undying river. They constituted the knowledge he had acquired, but had yet to learn how to use. He had given himself ample time to devise paths of advancement regarding his blade technique, spiritual weapons, and others. The paths that he would take. He already had them in place, yet not a single step was made. Annihilation is the most powerful body of knowledge for combat. It can unleash an incredible power in an instant. For now, even if I rely on the blade technique at the level of a universe supreme master, I am still weak in terms of godly power, maybe only at the 5th-tiered stage. If I were to make use of annihilation, the body of lost knowledge created by 3 generations of ancestors. TSK. It's a hefty price to pay. If I use this move, the consumption of my godly body is going to be massive. Dong Hua is pretty important to me. As for Undying River, there is no pressing need for it now. I have another body now, so there is no need for the cultivation of Undying River. When I have become a universe supreme master, and all my bodies combine into one. When I only have one original body, then I will need to cultivate Undying River. Luo Feng put Undying River aside for the time being and started his cultivation of Annihilation and Dong Hua. In East Emperor Universe, a cluster of palaces was constructed atop the mountains, and the entire palace grounds were divided into 9 areas. If one were to look down from high above the sky, the view would seem like a gigantic beast, where the whole cluster of palaces exuded an interminable air of malice. This was where North True Star Master resided, where there was a large number of undying servants and a handful of disciples who had come to seek advice. In the main hall, North True Star Master's avatar was seated in an elevated position within the Great Hall. With drooping eyelids, he was talking incessantly about the law's path, and in the middle of the hall, there were almost 100 universe knights, who did not dare to get the least bit distracted. All were listening attentively. The universe knights seated beneath were all shocked when they realized that North True Star Master had suddenly stopped talking. They immediately looked up at him with doubtful expressions. We will stop here for now. All of you take your leave, North True Star Master suddenly commanded. Although all of them were quite confused, they obeyed with reverence. Yes, teacher. Then they left the hall together, where only North True Star Master remained high up where he sat today. Ancestor. North True Star Master shouted respectfully. A figure radiating a faint green light appeared. This was East Emperor Ancestor, and his appearance also brought about changes to that space within the Great Hall. No one from the outside could see what was inside, and so, there was no way they could discover anything. East Emperor Ancestor's voice rumbled and resonated within the Great Hall. I have ordered you to bring along 10 Universe Masters to stand guard in the Flame Ice region. Did you happen to chance upon Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng? North True Star Master bowed and replied respectfully, Ancestor, since the inheritance ended, and after Blue Blood Night and the rest failed, I acted according to your orders, and stayed to keep watch at Flame Ice region. I was never the slightest bit neglectful of my duties. There are various routes from all directions, with the boat of Mausoleum as the anchor point. Every moment when there were Universe Masters, I was keeping a close watch. No matter how powerful that Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng is, he would never be able to sneak away. Yet, after such a long time, I have not discovered any trace of him at all. Seems like he has not come out of the boat of Mausoleum. Do not lose vigilance, East Emperor Ancestor said coldly. Maybe there were other Universe Masters who helped him escape. I have considered various situations thoroughly, North True Star Master reported. Hiding within world rings that other great beings carry, then leaving secretly, this is definitely a possible scenario. Yet a personal round of investigation showed that any great beings from other regions, who tried in vain to go near the surroundings of Boat of Mausoleum, were all stopped short. So far, we have blocked off 39 Universe Masters, and 2 Universe Supreme Masters. Our clan is powerful. A face-off with us would not end well, so until today, no one has dared to forcibly barge their way in. No one dared go in. Of course, it would not be possible for anyone to take Luo Feng away. True. East Emperor Ancestor nodded with satisfaction. We must catch hold of Luo Feng. He has the inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River. It is extremely important. Catch him, no matter what price we have to pay. Understood, North True Star Master replied with respect. East Emperor Ancestor briefly nodded. To East Emperor Holy Land, it was not considered beyond reason for almost 100 Universe Masters to die. There was a limit to the number of Universe Masters that the East Emperor Holy Land universe can accommodate, and furthermore, it had existed for far too long, and had accumulated a large batch of expectant Universe Masters. Blue Blood Knight, for one, was an expectant Universe Master. Once another Universe Master was annihilated, another batch of expectant Universe Master would very quickly make a breakthrough. To the high and mighty East Emperor Ancestor, he was clear on what an inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River meant. Just a small portion of it could translate to infinite uses. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Deep within the internal domain of Universe Boat, within the vast Flame Ice region, there was not a single great being in the surroundings of the Boat of Mausoleum. North True Star Master and 10 other Universe Masters were scattered in their various hiding places, keeping a close watch over their designated regions. Ancestor just came looking for me, North True Star Master notified via his transmission token. Again. During our time of standing guard, Ancestor has looked you up thrice, North True. Seems like Ancestor places much importance on this inheritance. Throughout my entire life's journey, I have never seen him get so uptight over anything before. How can we not treat this with such reverence? You see, all 10 of us are definitely ranked within the top 20 Universe Masters within East Emperor Holy Land. Out of 10, 3 of us already had supreme true treasures. But now, Ancestor has specially taken out 7 supreme true treasures from the accumulated treasures the clan has collected over untold years, just for us. North True Star Master and the 10 of us, now, each of us holds a supreme true treasure. Throughout Universe Ocean, I think only Purple Moon Holy Land and our clan will be able to achieve this. And for Purple Moon Holy Land to be able to take out so many supreme true treasures, I suppose that will require them to put in their utmost effort. Even for our clan, this was an extremely heavy burden. True. We all have a supreme true treasure. When confronted by a Universe Supreme Master, we shall have no fear. Just one Luo Feng. Besides, North True Star Master only requires a fleeting moment to break free from the reins of the universe laws and speedily catch up with him. North True is the true principal force this time around. All of these Universe Masters held high social statuses. Even if they were conversing with North True Star Master and the few other Universe Supreme Masters, they were usually on equal social standing. They were truly the top-tiered elites of East Emperor Holy Land, yet all of them were stationed here in endless waiting, just to apprehend a single Luo Feng. This went to show how determined East Emperor Ancestor was. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the boat of mausoleum, in the space of cultivation, within the space of inheritance. Experiencing the long course of cultivation. Oh, how long it was! The lost knowledge created by 3 generations of ancestors is all the more profound beyond comparison. I can't stay here all the time. Sitting cross-legged on the grass patch, Luo Feng opened his eyes with a slight frown. I still have to create my blade technique and complete several other tasks, and apparently, now, I feel that my law comprehension is simply too weak. The laws were one of his shortcomings. As he needed to get the pair of white wings to recognize him as its master, Golden Beast Path was stuck somewhere close to the completion of its 7th form. There, it remained stagnant, as Luo Feng simply did not dare to continue cultivating it. Besides, without truly comprehending the Golden Space Law prior to studying secret techniques, there would be a blemish that would affect the progress of studies to a certain extent. As the studies got more profound, this influence would become more apparent. I must get out of here as fast as I can. I must get that pair of white wings as early as I can. Then I must cultivate Golden Space Path right away. First and foremost, I must break through to a Universe Master first. Upon breaking through to become a Universe Master, the godly power would change. Godly power represented the body. It also represented the soul. When soul and consciousness became stronger, it would be helpful in cultivation. And after the laws were complete, studying the techniques would get much easier. Moreover, he also planned to comprehend all the 10 fundamental laws, which were gold, wood, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, time, and space. His goals were far-sighted, and plans were extensive, so he had to improve fast enough. But it was still more advisable to seize that pair of white wings to achieve a breakthrough to becoming a Universe Master prior to further actions. As for the boat of mausoleum and the space of inheritance, I shall just bring everything along with me. When I return to the primal universe, I shall leave the boat of mausoleum and space of inheritance within my god country. That is the safest place. Given my current combat ability, my earthling original body can unleash a 5th stage top-tiered power. As for the endless remote ocean, even if I rely on Duan Mie, synonymous with annihilation, to boost the burning up my godly power, given the vastness of the endless remote ocean, the burning of godly power would not mean much even for a Universe Supreme Master. It would be possible for him to fight his way out. Luo Feng was very confident. 9 Remoteness Master was a Universe Master, but when relying on 9 Remoteness Ocean, he feared no Universe Supreme Master. Luo Feng, although his godly power was weaker by a notch, had blade techniques comparable to the beginner level of a Universe Supreme Master. This made up for the difference in godly power. Also, Duan Mie made it possible for him to unleash an extraordinary outburst of power. The amount of power unleashed could even become overkill. This was merely the ability of the impressive remote ocean. After all, if Luo Feng's earthling original body and golden horned beast body were to make use of Duan Mie, their godly bodies would be consumed too fast. That was why he would not use it so readily. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the space of inheritance, Luo Feng took one step out and passed the entrance of the space to arrive within the space of inheritance where there were various planes of treasures. Treasures. Luo Feng raised his head to take a look. He was surrounded by a void space, and a towering treasure mountain stood before him. At the top of the mountain peak, dazzling, brilliant streams shot up into the sky, all of which radiated boundless power. Every stream was strong enough to send tremors through Luo Feng's mind. It was as if hundreds of Universe Supreme Masters were self-destructing. It was a landslide of power. A total of 322 precious treasures. Luo Feng held his breath. Generations of Duandong River, accumulating for countless years to finally reach a collection of 322 precious treasures. What a pity that I can only choose one, and this must be returned while I am still alive. This was the role. Generations of Duandong River had been doing so. Usually, they would take one piece. For those who were more powerful and had great achievements, they might even be able to return 2 or 3 pieces even though they only took 1, which was considered a way of contributing to the pulse of Duandong River. All these would be automatically recorded on the stone tablet of that treasure mountain. All these treasures had a special name within the ancient civilization, the meta-embryo. Meta held a highly respected meaning in the ancient civilization. Any treasure's name prefixed with this word was considered a top-tiered grade treasure. Embryo, on the other hand, meant the growing fetus. For a great being, different treasures were needed at different times. For instance, an undying with a supreme true treasure was useless, because he was unable to use it at his level. That was why, even though true treasures might have emerged to full form, there was no way a great being could use them all the time. That was where the term meta-embryo came about. The meta-embryo was a unique treasure that had yet to take full form, so even undying fighters could start to use it. And anyone could incorporate personal comprehensions of secret techniques into this treasure, where it would then have more secret engravings. For instance, Star Tower was extensively infused with layers of secret engravings, but the meta-embryo had none. It was blank and empty, and yet, merely relying on its basic power, it was already extremely strong. A user could continuously infuse secret engravings, just like refining a true treasure. It was easy to infuse a meta-embryo with secret engravings. For example, earlier on, Luo Feng had created 3 great blade techniques: Foggy Light Void Space, Golden Universe, and Nirvana Renaissance. Of these 3, Nirvana Renaissance was a blade technique that had reached the level of a Universe Supreme Master. Even for Luo Feng, he had to be fully focused in order to come up with a sketch of such incomparably massive secret engravings, and to execute this technique. The moment these secret engravings were all infused into the meta-embryo, there was only the need to drive it to execute it. Using the meta-embryo, even while manipulating other true treasures in times of battle, would not be a concern. And Nirvana Renaissance could ride on the power of the meta-embryo to execute an even greater force. This was the meta-embryo. It was capable of continuous growth. As it got more and more powerful, more important secret engravings could be further integrated into it. And while it was growing, a meta-embryo was able to accompany an expectant great being until that great being matured to the most pinnacle level of the ancient civilization. At that time, the meta-embryo would also mature into a frightening top-tiered treasure. I can only choose one piece. What should I choose? How about the blade embryo? Luo Feng looked at the treasure mountain and heartily wished that he was allowed to take a few more pieces. This video will end here.